Hi, this is County Supervisor Jesse Armendariz, and we're here at our first ever pod with the supervisor. So the whole purpose of this is for us to get to know those who are in our community in the second district, what they do, how they do it, and why what they do is so important to the second district. So I want to thank our first guest, who is Lynne Kennedy, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Rancho Cucamonga, and Kristine Scott, who's the council member in the City of Rancho Cucamonga. Tell us a little about each of you guys so those who are watching can know a little bit more. Let's start with where you were before you became an elected official. What did you do?
Well, first of all, thank you. I'm honored to be first guest along
I had
with
no
my
idea
colleague.
we were the first ones. I'm like, oh, we're the
I
first
know
ones.
my colleague
Setting
Kristine
the bar,
Scott.
man.
So this is very,
You really are.
This is very special. So thank you for allowing us to be your first guest. Before I stepped into the world of politics, I was an educator. Actually, I consider myself to still be an educator. Once a teacher, always a teacher at heart. So I did that for almost 40 years. Started out as a high school, middle school, junior high school math teacher. I should say junior high because it really was 7th, 8th, ninth grade. And I taught math and loved it and went up through the career ladder and retired as a superintendent in 2014.
Wow.
No, was it 14, 12? Actually, maybe it was 2012. Yes, 2012.
I did not know that you were a superintendent. I knew you were like at the principal levels and that you were a teacher. And the one thing we do share in common is, I don't know if you know, my wife's a math teacher.
Oh,
She's
that's
been,
right.
She's been a math teacher going on, I believe, 13 years now.
Awesome.
And she teaches high school math. I am 1, I am 2, I am 3. But yeah, that's really cool.
Yes.
Christine?
Well, again, I echo the Mayor Pro Tem's comments. I'm flattered that we're the first guest, but so thank you for the invite. So I've known you before. I was a council person in my other job, which is I'm a regional public affairs manager for SoCalGas. So I oversee the public affairs team for the Inland Empire, which includes Riverside, San Bernardino, and Imperial counties. And so I spent the last 25 years working in public affairs. Before the gas company, I was doing public affairs, public relations for 2 different firms in Riverside County. So kind of doing, a lot of land developments, a lot of different type of projects, and also political campaigns. So that was kind of my previous career, which I'm still doing, but before council.
I think it's you definitely bring a lot to the table having all those past experience, both of you, because you can talk from an educational point of view when we're talking about how we're creating our communities, and when it's a public affairs issue, you kind of probably have a better insight than most do. So I'm sure you guys lean on each other somehow, different depending on situations.
It's real quick. It's funny you say that because I think our council as a whole, we each have a strong background on something that I think is probably one of the secret sauces to why we're doing what we're doing. We each rely on our background. If it's an education issue, we look to Lynn. If it's a utility or business issue, it's me. Real estate, and then of course public safety, it's our mayor. So I think it's a nice to have that.
Yeah, I think you guys have a great team there. I mean, getting to know you guys individually. I know when I was a city council member, we would talk, and we knew each other at the 20,000 foot level, and just being able to work with you guys one-on-one on projects and being in the second district, I think it's given us all an opportunity to get to know each other. Not just Christine's probably the exception because I knew her way before, and I hung out with her before when we were in different events because she was the SoCal person. But just watching what you guys do and how you do it, is pretty much like what I tell people is it's a very unique way of getting business done that you don't see confrontation on your guys' board like you would see on other boards or other councils, for that matter. Like, you guys are very in sync in knowing what you want to see, what the future of Rancho Cucamonga looks like. And that's probably one of the things that's impressed me the most with Rancho Cucamonga is how you guys all stick together and just you guys are one united front no matter what. And I think that's, like you said, secret sauce earlier. I have to say that probably is a secret sauce for you guys to accomplish everything you have accomplished and being considered one of those number 1 cities in the whole IE. So
We're very intentional about that. It doesn't happen by accident. We do plan, and we have team building. We have a lot of conversations. We spend at least this year I think we had 2 days. 2 days of team building. So we're very intentional, and we talk about what are our goals, What do we hope to accomplish as a council, as a city? And it's all about the team. And so as we look to governing at large rather than focusing on district interest, it really is a city interest. So we're intentional about how we lead and how we work with one another.
And you hit something very that on the head that I want to kind of like, dive a small digression into districts. You know, we see when districts became an issue for us as elected officials, and we went to districts. You did have the difference between having those who ran their districts for the benefit of that district and those who ran the districts as the benefit of their whole community. And you could literally see the difference in the way they govern. Tell me a little bit about how you guys kind of came to that. When you hit that crossroad, how did you guys come together and say, you know what, we're going to make it purposeful, that we're going to work for the betterment of Rancho Cucamonga?
Can I just add, though, before that, yes, we all are together. We all look on sync, but I don't want to sugarcoat it. There's a closed session. There's behind the scenes, and so when we
100%, I
have
get that,
disagreements, and I've been called into the principal's office a couple of times. I mean,
We've all been through that.
the mother hen here will run us together, and that also goes back to, I think it was the mayor pro tem, and it was the mayor that, in 2018 was the first time I ran for office. That was the first time we formed 2 districts, and so when we came together as a team at our first team building, if I recall, it was the mayor pro tem, and it was our mayor that said, look, if we're going to be Team RC, which we've always been Team RC, we really, yes, we understand and realize that we represent districts and we're elected by the districts. But at the end of the day, we're one team, as you said, we're one city. So what if it's going to be good enough for my district, it better be good enough for her district and vice versa. And so I get all the time, well, you're not my council person. I'm going to go, no, I'm not your council person. You didn't vote for me. But guess what? I'm still voting on issues that impact your districts. And so we know other cities, we won't name who they are, but we know what happens when you focus on just your district. And in order for us to be a successful world-class community, we're going to continue and always continue to be focused on Rancho as a whole. And I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
We had that discussion because there were members on our council who were elected at large, including me. And so when we saw that shift, we knew at the time that we would have to work together. And it was our responsibility as experienced council people to mentor, support, and encourage the new council members when they came on. And so we, as Kristine mentioned, we talked about it. How do you govern at large when you're elected by a district? And we talked about, what do we do when people say, well, you're my council person and I need you to take care of this or I'm not going to vote for you. And I know the first person that asked me that, I said, what would you think if I said, well, I really don't care what happens in the south side of our city? What kind of council person would I be if I said that? And what if someone on our council said that about the district that we live in? We don't care what happens there. That would be absurd. And so it would be like me saying, as a principal, I only like the 8th graders. I really don't like 7th. What kind of principal? It's our school, and we care about every student, every child, every teacher is important. That's our city. Every single resident, every district, every gas station, every park, it represents Rancho Cucamonga, not a district. And so we are very intentional and we practice. What do you say when someone, and let's practice. What do you say with our friends? I've got friends that a project that they brought before council I could not support as a city. And that was probably one of the most difficult conversations I had with her during a meeting when she came to the podium, and I had to share why I couldn't support that particular project. So we practice so that we can support one another, and we come up with scenarios. We're very transparent with one another, and we say, okay, give me a question. What's happened to you? Give me a conversation or a possible one that you think you might have difficulty with, and we go through those scenarios.
And I will add too, we're still, I mean, for the first couple of years, it still took some time to get used to. Like, for example, what if you have someone that's bringing a project that has a relationship with her, but it's in my district?
That's true.
What do you do? And so we came up with like a protocol as a courtesy. They should at least talk to whoever represents that district first. And so that's happened. In fact, I was actually quite happy to say, you know what, that's not my district. You got to talk to her first. But, and that's what we kind of do for one another. And I think our mayor's done a really great job too when we have ribbon cuttings or things that we work with the chamber, whoever district it's in. He allows us to be the one to speak in addition to, the mayor speaking. And then what I really appreciate is if there's a something, whether it's controversial or a project happening in a certain district, we're given the opportunity, whoever's district is in, to speak first on that issue. That way we kind of set the tone because
Own it, yeah.
we're going to know that district probably a little bit more. Not that they don't, but we live there. We may know a little bit more
Yeah.
insight to that. I mean, for example, we have an issue right now that happens to be in my district. And yes, they all look to me like, what are we going to do? But we huddled last night and said, we all need to figure this out. It wasn't, Kristine, you got it. It's yours.
Yeah.
We were going to figure it out together because at the end of the day, it's about our city and about the residents of our city. It doesn't matter whose district it's in.
Yeah. So before I digress to it, because I want to comment about this is really good dialogue, but I want to share my personal experience with you guys on this same item. But how many years you've been in office?
Since 2014, so 11 years now.
Since 2018, so you do the math.
Yeah. So
7 years.
so you had that gap of knowledge where you're able to come in and actually help mentor when Kristine came in. And I was fortunate enough when I first got in office, when I was a city council member, to have a mentor who was able. I actually had a couple. I had you know who John Roberts is, right?
Yes.
28 plus 8. I think it's 28 plus years in office.
True veteran.
And what I loved about John was he would always tell me, he's like, let me tell you how, because I would, I was gun ho and I wanted to make changes, and I was like, oh, I want to do this. And he's like, let me tell you why this is like this. And he would give me the whole backstory and gave me a whole different perspective. So when you're talking about how you're able to create that leadership, I totally understand and get it 110%. But I do want to talk about, and we're going to move into this a little bit, is you guys are 100% together. And like you said, you guys look at what's in the betterment of all of the city, not just a district. And I had came to you guys as electeds individually. You know where I'm going with this, right? And I said, I want you guys to find a project that you can own, that I want to help support you guys on in each district. And we'll lead off here. And what was your response, Kristine, to me when I said that?
Well, I said, thank you, first of all. I really appreciate that. But we don't look at it as districts. And we were actually in Sacramento.
Yeah.
And I said, actually, we've been up here for the last day advocating for certain things. So if you really want to help us out, we've all been advocating for the library and need some money for the library. And I know you looked at me kind of like, what? I don't know. I want to highlight you. I said, no, we're all up here. That's all what we're focused on right now is the library.
And I did. I remember looking at him like, really? Like, I'm giving you an opportunity for you to shine. And you're saying, no, you're saying you want your whole city to shine. And I'll be honest, I was thrown back a little bit when she said that, because I'm like, well, I would think, she's going to, want to have something that she can push up. And she's like, no, we are one, and this is what we want to do. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll help you with that. And the second I said that, I don't know if you know this, she brought who's going to be soon to be your city manager, grabbed her, pulled her right to me, and we start having discussions in Sacramento. We're talking about how can we help? What does it look like? And I'm like, you know what? You guys will have my commitment. Here's what we're going to do. It was a little more complicated than that, but at the end of the day, it did show me how everything you're saying right now is 100% accurate on how you guys lead your cities, because you guys were lock, stock, and barrel. It was, hey, we're going to do this. We want to do this. But let's talk a little bit about the library. Tell people who don't know why this library came up, how it came up, and why it was so important for you guys to make sure that this was your mission.
Well, first of all, thank you. The library is really the pulse of our community. It's where children go to read and experience adventures, and adults come to learn. It is such a hub, a community hub. And we outgrew Archibald location, and we had an opportunity to go back to the original location of the library. And Kristine, you want to add some of that?
Yeah, no, basically.
She was on the Library Foundation, so
Yeah.
Kristine has been an advocate for libraries since before she was on council. So
No, well, I appreciate that, but no, exactly what the mayor pro tem said is that we've outgrown it. I mean, people just don't. A library is not just what people think. You go and rent a book. There's so much other stuff there, and so as the mayor pro tem indicated, there was an opportunity to go back to our roots, to the original place. But we were able to get a grant through the California Library is it Association, the State Library Association, with a matching grant. And so with your funding, which we're so appreciative, we were able to actually do some upgrades because eventually this is more centrally located for those that may have a hard time getting to the Archibald Library now. And during the summertime when it gets hot, it's going to be used as a cooling center. So we want to, and it has more outdoor space so we can have different events outdoors, make it more of a community center kind of thing. So we're really excited about it. In fact, we just got an update last night that it's moving through construction. As you know, you were there. We got to tear down the walls, and so we're making it more of a resource place down there. And so it's just so critical. And I think the idea of going back to our roots where we started from is a pretty cool thing. So I'm really excited about it. I can't tell you the name of it. You got to stay tuned for that. But we do have a name for the official library that I think is it makes me proud that the Library Commission decided to go with that name. I think it's a very fitting name. And so we hope to unveil that in December. But I think it's going to be a great asset for the community, going back to our roots. So we're looking forward to it.
Technology in this library. You want to talk a little bit about what kind of technology are you guys going to have there? I know a lot of libraries today, people love books, but there's also all these ebooks that are available. There's videos. There's all this different technology that's being used, ADA stuff. Are you guys going to have any, are you guys working towards or going to have any state-of-the-art stuff in there that you guys can share yet or no?
I don't know if we can share, but one of the things I believe that I'm excited about, and I think I told you about a little bit, was our library of things. Mm-hmm. So I know I was watching TV and it's become like a thing. I'm like, we started that. It's been here for a while. So basically our library of things is that, hey, I want to do podcast, but I don't have the money to start a podcast or have the tools or I want to check it out. Mm-hmm. You can go with your library card if you're in Rancho and rent out a microphone to start a podcast. You can rent a canoe. You can rent a sewing machine. You can rent just different things that you can rent and try out. You have to return them, but it kind of gives you an idea of how it works before you buy it. And so I know one of the things here at this new library is that it's become a popular attraction, the library of things, and I believe we're going to make it have more space so we can have more library of things there. So that's one thing that we're looking forward to having at the new location.
So you didn't have everything from camping equipment to canoes, everything?
I didn't know. I mean, I'm like, who rents a canoe? But people are renting canoes. Yeah.
Before you make an investment into a new hobby, you have a chance to see if you really want to invest your time, energy, and money in that hobby. Even small things, an air fryer.
Yeah.
Because to experiment with an air fryer, person says, do I want an air fryer? Do I want to spend $150? Go check one out.
Go check one out, try it out for a little bit.
And here's what's so innovative about it. It's called the lot because we have a lot of stuff, but it stands for Library of Things. So you think about the lot. Think of a lot where you've got equipment or...
I like that.
Isn't
that's
that
a
fun?
Nice play on words.
It is. We have such innovative.
Yeah, they're creative. The library team and the team in general is they come with these things. I'm like, how do you do that?
So who's donating stuff to?
We're purchasing it.
We're purchasing.
So are you guys working with like REI and people like that who maybe come in and say maybe they will want to sponsor?
That's a good idea. We should probably look into it. But I think we've been using like grants and other things too.
Yes,
and then we're getting feedback from people. I guess hey, do you have this or that? And we kind of look into what people are looking for to
like a request list. Like what kind of?
I don't know if it's a request list, but we keep
with suggestions.
Yeah.
What kind of things would you want to see in the library of things? So you're here to hear, guys. Hit us up. Let us know. We'll give them the list.
And also, parking passes, like national parks.
Yeah.
That you can check out, and you don't have to spend money for your family to go to a local park, which is the one that's pretty close.
Joshua Tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so they can go check out passes,
and that's been really popular. I think every library has it, but it's been very, very popular. But I mean, library, that's a lot, has been a popular thing, but we're just running out of space. So
That's actually really. I didn't even know you could do that. Like you could rent.
I told
passes.
you we were going to do
No.
a video on camping. I'm like, you should come to
Yeah,
rent out some stuff.
No, I remember you telling me about the library of things and how you were going to have all that. I thought that was a really, really cool concept. Like I'm like, this is something that I would have never thought would be something of interest, and people love it. And then I think you had shared with me at that time, I didn't even know that you could rent out passes to parks. I'm like, usually, unless you had a military ID, you're paying full price.
Right.
Right.
And so to hear that, I'm like, that's really cool. Like I've always paid to go to a park, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to go see what this process looks like.
Yeah, well, we'd love to show you that. But at first I was like, are people gonna want to do that? But it's really popular, and the categories or the catalog just keeps expanding. And then, not to mention, too, I want to give a plug. We also have two mobile libraries. So for folks that may not be able to make it to Archibald or the one at Victoria Gardens, at our new fire station, Station 8. I don't know if you've seen it, but we have kind of like
vending
it's like a
machines?
vending
The
machine
kiosk.
library, and then we have one at the Family Resource Center. So we want to make sure that no matter where people live in Rancho, they're able to either get a book or drop off their book.
Yeah, I've seen that as a new popular thing coming out. I think City of Upland was looking at doing that across their whole city, and they reached out to us for asking us for support. I think it's a great idea to have just those drop-offs where you could actually, in your own community, close to home, where you have denser areas where people can just kind of move back and forth. Thought in my head. With the state park passes, is it like where you guys have like 10 of them and then you just rotate them, or is it, how does that work?
I'm not the expert, but I know from my understanding, the state association libraries, they gave every library a certain amount of passes.
So they give them so many, and then it's like
Yes.
it's like
Yeah,
yearly
it's
ones.
like a library book. You reserve it, you have so many days to
Got
return
it.
it back.
Right.
Now and I'm just thinking outside the box, and I'll see what we can do. Is the county doing something like that with you guys, with all of the regional parks that we have that are available, or like our Big Bear Zoo, for instance? Like a lot of people don't even know about it. We have a zoo in Big Bear. Like I'm thinking, how do I sit there? We talk about live, work, play, right? How do I talk to the county and say, how do we maybe donate within our own library system and you guys, even if we gave 4 or 5, 6 10 passes a year that they can interchange back and forth? I feel like that would be a public benefit,
It'd be
right?
a great partnership, a great opportunity. Like you said, you don't have to leave the county. You can stay right here.
Yeah.
And with your campaign, I love San Bernardino County. I mean, it gives people an opportunity to explore the zoo, like you said, or go to other regional parks in the county. That's a great idea.
To check with Wes, our library director, and see what his understanding and knowledge is about what's available that he can include. I'm sure Wes is on top of it, but that's a good point. And just to circle back to districts, never once would I think, oh, the library, the Archibald Library, the new West End Library, new name, is in Kristine's district, so I'm not really concerned. Whatever they're doing over there is no concern. That is our that's my library.
library.
It's my city. It's my library. It's our library. And as Kristine mentioned, when we talk about projects that we're going to lobby for, it's always what's in our city that we need that's going to benefit all our residents, because that library is available to every single resident, not just only people in Kristine's district.
Well,
can
actually, it's
visit.
not even my district.
It's in whose district?
Ashley's district.
See, I don't even know.
See, but
Because it's ours.
it's ours. We don't care.
So knowing that Rancho Cucamonga is a one rancho, let's call it one rancho.
Team
right?
RC, yes.
Team RC. You guys want to share with me a couple of exciting projects that are coming down the road that maybe the public
How
doesn't
long
know
is your
about?
podcast? I don't know.
We got 45 minutes.
Do you
so
want to
yeah.
talk about the big one? You want
Which
to
one?
talk about Brightline West?
I'll let you.
So before we go into
'Cause I'm
Brightline
sure everyone's
West,
heard about Brightline
Yeah,
West.
probably. What else?
so we know Measure I, which is getting ready to expire, came out, right? And that was how much of that was a benefit for the Brightline West project? Was that huge? Was that monetary? Was it a benefit to have that there?
Absolutely. Because of the transportation, that's the whole focus
Yeah.
of the Measure I is transportation projects, infrastructure. Absolutely. That helped us with infrastructure there at the Brightline West.
Huge benefit to
Station.
the communities when we're supporting things like Measure I. I think we're going to be coming up for
Definitely.
another one with SBCTA. And I always tell people, like, know, for our community, they really need to know the benefits of these type of ballot measures, right? Because that was one that actually did a lot of good work for San Bernardino County. If you look at everything from overpasses to Bright Line to I-10 corridors, even some of these small projects, bike trails. I mean, it had so much benefit that I tell people all the time, like, just because you see a new tax doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Like these are one of those things that are measures that come up that is a true benefit to our communities. Absolutely. And I know that there's going to be some people who are going to be pushing to really advocate for that to come up again. So with me digressing to another world, tell me a little bit more about some of the projects that you're excited about.
I think Measure I is a benefit to communities if something's missing, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
When it works well and it's smooth and it's transportation, infrastructure, everything is working well, people are able to be mobile and connect with one another, you just take it for granted and you go, oh, that makes sense, that works. When it doesn't work, when it's not there, let's take something so small as curbs and access, ADA access. You get to a curb and there's no way for someone that has mobility issues to walk across the street because there's no ramp there to access. You notice when it's not there because I may have mobility issues. But when it's there and it works, we were able to do so many improvements, ADA improvements as a result of Measure I, as you mentioned. Yeah. Of course, the bike trails that everybody benefits from and the infrastructure projects, the 210 baseline. There are so many slurring streets, no potholes. I mean, like I said, you know it works because there's no pothole. You get in a pothole, you're like, why is that there? How come nobody fix it? And where are we going to get the money to fix it? So
you hit it on the head. At the end of the day, it really is. We only have so much, right? We only have so much of money that we can allocate to everything, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's for me, I'm at my level, whether it's housing, affordable housing, homeless, mental health, whatever the issues are. There's only so much money allocated that we can spend, so we have to make sure that we're purposeful, right, on how we spend it. And sometimes things are a bigger priority, so I think that's where that benefit came into play, where you could actually expand on things that bigger and better than you could actually afford as a municipality. You're able to get those dealt with through that measure. But tell me a couple of other projects you guys have. Anything exciting that you want to bring to anyone's attention? Any developments or anything?
I mean, there's a lot going on, but I think I'm really excited too about our food culture that's happening right now in Rancho Cucamonga.
Tell me more.
I think one of the things that makes I'm going to be biased here, but we hear a lot of times that different restaurants want to come to Rancho because it's the place to be, I would say, is that they tell us.
Yeah.
So we're really getting some great opportunities to get some restaurants from the LA area and from the Orange County area that don't want to come to the Inland Empire, and the fact that they're coming to the Inland Empire and coming to Rancho is huge. For example, Fogo de Chao.
I was going to say that.
Just opened on Monday.
Right?
We were there over the weekend, and I will tell you what they've done at that place. It's probably one of the nicest ones. I predict it will probably be one of the top in their chains, and they're really excited to be here. But it also shows that there's an appetite, no pun intended, for restaurants like that. I mean, they want to be here, and so that's just one that is coming. The other one that we were told is going to open in a couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about, is Seasons 52, which right now they're in South Coast Plaza.
Okay.
And they are coming to Victoria Gardens, which is another higher end restaurant, and there's more that are happening at.
What kind of food is that?
Well, I've been there, actually checked it out, because every time someone says we're thinking about it, I'll go check it out. I would say I would compare them to a Fleming's.
Really? Okay.
They're owned by Capital Grill.
Okay.
So I think they're going to do really well. But the fact that we're getting, Durango just opened up not too long ago. It was our rooftop
Fabulous
bar.
place. That rooftop bar is amazing.
That boutique hotel is doing it like amazing. So, I mean, getting a little bit higher stuff.
I got to say, from what I've seen, like what you've done in Rancho for our local community, I'm going to say for the second district, I'll keep it a little tight. You guys have been like that front runner to show it can be done, because no one ever wants to take a chance. Everyone's like, oh, well, if we did, I've been talking about rooftop bars for 10 years, like legit 10 years. Like, hey, this will be something people will come to. No one ever wants to do. And then to see it come, you can't, if you've been up there, try to go up there just on any average day. You'll be lucky to get a seat.
That's true.
Having these high-end restaurants in the Inland Empire, in our district, you guys have the population and you have the income levels that people are coming. And I mean, you're getting people from Fontana, Rialto, Rancho, Claremont, Upland, all around you are coming to the Victoria Gardens, not just to shop, but to enjoy the cuisine, right? And I just love it because I'm constantly seeing new restaurants pop up. I love eating in Rancho. It's funny. I have dinner plans for next week with me and my wife, and her family's coming down from San Diego. And I'm like, okay, well, we know we're going to be in Victoria Gardens. We just got to figure out which restaurant we're going to eat at. So, I love the atmosphere of what you bring there, and how you guys are constantly just kind of pushing the envelope a little bit, every little so much about, yes, can a rooftop bar work? Yes, it can. Can the higher end restaurants survive? Yes, they can.
Yes, they can. Very much.
And I think even, when you brought Shake Shack over.
Hey, I'm still going to brag about Shake Shack because,
Yeah, you were super.
I guess the one thing that bothers me is that I hear from developers all the time. And again, I'm an IE girl, raised here. And I'm just so frustrated with everyone saying, oh, you're the IE, you're never going to get that. So that was told me, you're never going to get they laughed at me. You're never going to get a Shake Shack. You will never get one. Mm-hmm. I think they finally brought one to shut me up. And not only did they bring one, but of all the Shake Shacks, now imagine they're on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. They're in London. They're all over the world. The Rancho one, I've been told by our city team, it was number 5 in the chain of all of Shake Shacks. So what does that tell you about? It's not Rancho, it tells you about the IE. Yeah. So I think what's exciting about restaurants like Seasons 52 and Fogo coming is that, we've been told we go to ICSC. Yeah. And I've been told directly, look, if we're going to come to IE, we're going to come to Rancho, because we've been told, and they told us, if we can do well in Rancho, then there's hope we can do well in other places in the Inland Empire. And I hope that's true. I hope Riverside, or I hope Temecula, I hope this is not the last of the Fogo de Chella's coming. I hope another seasons too. I want people to see that and it's not just Rancho. There's people there, the income is here. There are people here. We want nice things. We don't want to drive to Orange County. We don't want to drive to Pasadena. We want to be able to stay in our own backyard here. So I think that's really great about Rancho is that, yes, it's in our backyard, but hopefully that opens the doors for other areas in our region.
Yeah, I got to admit, I absolutely hate the drive to LA and Orange County. And if I can have those restaurants within reach, I'm going to always come here, and I'm always going to stay in my local area, just because of not just the convenience, but there's so much more advantages when you're giving back in your own community. We have the restaurants here. We're bringing them that tax increment,
absolutely,
which goes back to creating our public safety, which makes it a more desirable area where people want to develop. To me, it's just this big circle of life that happens when you invest in local. And you're talking earlier when we were off camera about how what the potential of AI could do for our small businesses. I was blown away when I heard that right now, and I'm going to be looking into it a lot more. But you want to give a little quick?
Oh, I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but I just had lunch with this guy that is bringing, talking about AI. He's a technology business helping a lot with the manufacturing stuff. But he was telling me his focus now is AI, because if it's going to hurt the small businesses if there's nothing done to protect the small business on AI. And I looked at him and I was like, well, I'm a little nervous about that, because the small businesses are the backbone of our community. Yeah. Everywhere. I mean, no disrespect, but it's the small business that are supporting our little leagues. It's the small business that sponsor those teams and those kids. It's the small businesses that participate in the chambers, and you see them at different events. You don't see the big boxes there. Yeah. So if the small business aren't there, who's going to support our little leagues? Who's going to support our community? And not to mention, and they're the backbone. So I think we all should be looking at that. And I told the guy, keep me informed, because I want to know what we do. And it's funny. I said, I'm going to go on a podcast. I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah. No, I when you said that, I'm like, oh, I need to look into that more too, because if there's something we can do to get in front of it and advocate, we definitely want to do that. So hopefully, even after this podcast, we can continue to dialogue
I'll
on it.
introduce you. But Lynn loves AI stuff too. She loves reading all that data and all that stuff.
I think it's
do,
great
I do.
too.
It is, but like anything, you do have to be careful. There are unintended consequences, and we have to go into this with our eyes open, and we have to be extremely cautious, and we have to bring all of our stakeholders to the table and talk about potential impact. But I do want to go back to what Rancho Cucamonga is doing in terms of building a destination place for the region. We do have an economic development team, and what we're planning for the Quake Stadium area, that epicenter
yeah, tell
area.
me about that.
We're
Some
going
cool
to
stuff
be
coming up.
making sure that that becomes an entertainment area with pop-up restaurants, walkability, breweries,
Places for your
restaurants.
dog.
It's going to be
Pickleball
our
courts.
our own LA Live type of
I wouldn't
a
call
vibe.
it that, but it'll be
No, we don't
Rancho
wanna- Live. Let's put it that way.
Oh, speaking of Rancho, we have our own song too.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to that.
yeah.
But anyway, we talk to young people
Okay.
who live in Rancho Cucamonga. When I say young people, I mean 25 to 45.
Hey, now I
What
think
do
we
we
can go
do?
up higher on that. Yeah.
People who want more entertainment, more nightlife. And so what could we do to make sure we have a vibrant community that has entertainment for every generation? And so we've got a great senior center at the Central Park, and we have so many activities for our seniors. We're looking to explore what they want to do more.
Table tennis.
And pickleball. But now what about our younger people and our young families? And so we want to make Rancho Cucamonga this destination place that appeals to every generation. And so economic development team, looking at some of our classic restaurants. Let's not forget about
Magic
Sycamore Inn and
yeah.
Magic Lamp.
Yes.
And the recent
Haven't been there in a long time.
upgrades to Magic Lamp. And that's our own secret here in Rancho. The people like me who've lived here since 1980 just remember when Sycamore Inn was the most expensive, great steakhouse you could go
Yeah.
Still
to
is.
in the
And it's
area.
still great.
It's still great. And
Yeah.
it is a classic. It is a treasure that Michael and my husband Michael and I really love to go to. And we know it's going to be locals. Not a lot of people
Yeah.
outside of Rancho know about
And
it.
Lynn will tell you they make a good French 75.
I don't even know what that is. ma'am.
But in addition to that, though, you asked too, and now it's all coming. So we had the Felipe Winery. That is, we're known for the whitest grapes, the wine here in Rancho. And recently it was sold and it was taken over by National Core, who has turned this, revitalizing it and trying to do an education, teaching people hospitality, how to make the wine, how to grow the grapes. And then while they're doing that, they've also redone the tasting room, and they're going to redo it and make a restaurant. But right now, the tasting room just opened a couple weeks ago, and they've done an amazing job revitalizing it using a local winemaker. And so
wow.
It's gonna
there's
be
flights.
beautiful.
It's open now. It's a great place to go and just taste some of the local grapes and wines. And with that too, at Central Park, people may think it's weeds, but there are actually vineyards in there. And so we're working as a city to revitalize, and we have revitalized 100-year-old vines.
Wow.
And so we're actually producing
Do you have a
grapes.
song about old vines?
I don't know. I might have an old
Rancho
song.
Cucamonga is going to be 50 years old in
A young 50
in
years old.
2027. And we hired a professional group to create a song to celebrate Rancho Cucamonga. I hope you have it.
Let's
Kristine.
hear it.
Deep roots, old vines, where the warm wind blows and the sun shines.
selfish plug. You can download it on iTunes, and proceeds benefit the second story, which we haven't even talked about. The second story.
The second
So
story.
I think we
we're-
have 3 or 4
Oh,
minutes
you're going to have to
left.
do a part 2 with
gonna
us.
definitely
We're
have to
going
do
to
a
come
part 2.
back and we're
Yes.
going to talk about second story and beyond, our library.
Yeah, no, we love what you guys are doing there in the second district, and we want to continue to support every way we can because we know you guys are very diligent in what you do. So thank you for coming on our podcast, first ever
We're
podcast.
the first. We set
Yeah,
the bar.
thank you.
Hopefully, it was high. I don't know.
Yeah, and I got to say, I thought this came out really well. This is our first podcast. When we went into this, we are like, okay, how are we going to run this? How are we going to do this? How are we going to make it, exciting and keep the vibe going? I think you guys just speaking kept the vibe going all by itself. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for all you do. Look forward to our next podcast coming up shortly. Thank you and God bless.